Hi, my name is Kara Sayers, and this is my Module 10 case study on parental apathy. So just to be clear, I'm going to assume the role of the first-year assistant principal, Mrs. Rose, at John F. Kennedy High School. So my initial observations and experiences at the school have led me to believe that there's minimal parent involvement, and including a lack of any type of parent organization like a PTO or PTA. After several conversations with the principal, he has indicated to me that he feels that parents are not interested in getting involved, and he also feels like if we pursue the issue further, it might create a negative response. I pursued the issue a little bit further with him, and he finally agreed to allow me to hold a parent forum just to gauge interest. He also agreed to allow the formation of an initial parental advisory council, just not a PTO or a PTA. So we sent a message home through the students inviting all of the parents to the meeting, which will be the following Monday in the auditorium. On the day of the meeting, only 8 parents showed up, which reaffirmed the principal's initial feelings that parents didn't want to get involved, and his suggestion was to cancel the meeting. Some things I would still like to know. First of all, how well was the meeting communicated? Because we chose the avenue of transmitting information through the students, it's very possible and probably very highly likely that the majority of our parents did not even know about the meeting. The other thing I'd like to know is some insight into just the vibe of the community, as well as the relationship between the principal and the parents. Are parents truly apathetic, or is there an underlying issue that I'm not aware of, maybe something that happened with the principal? Do I have permission and clearance from the principal to continue? So if I choose to go ahead with the meeting and talk to the parents, are there ramifications of this decision? And I'd like to know the thoughts and the motives and the ideas of the 8 parents who chose to attend the meeting. If their intention is positive, then I think 8 is pretty much the perfect number to form an advisory council with. So finally, I'd like to just know how the students feel about the parents getting involved. Ultimately, the school is for them. So is this a good thing for the school and the community to get the parents involved? So pretty much after looking at everything I know and what I need to know, I've summarized the problem as just being the relationship between the school and the community. It's not a positive one. So regardless of whether or not the parents want to be involved, I think it's really important that we open and foster some lines of communication in order to improve the relationship moving forward. So my plan and strategies within that plan are kind of a 3-step approach. I think that we will make sure we're doing some communication, we will do some brainstorming and planning, and then we'll do some implementing and evaluating. I do think it's important to note, however, that I don't think these steps will just occur one right after the other, but they'll be kind of an ongoing thing where we may need to revisit one step and change something or come back. It'll just be kind of a work in progress. So in terms of communication, I would like to enlist the help of the 8 parents who attended the meeting. So I'll spend a lot of time listening to their thoughts, their ideas, and their opinions. And then I'd like to still gauge some of the interest of parents in the community. Maybe use an alternate method like an email blast or the newsletter to communicate with parents who did not attend, and just make sure that they're getting the invitation. I will continually dialogue with the principal, so he's in the loop about what we're discussing, and I think ultimately that will deepen the relationship that we have together in terms of our work, so I don't want him to feel like I'm trying to go behind his back for anything. And finally, I'll communicate with the students. I think maybe the student council is a great place to start, so that really they're involved in the whole process. Do they have some ideas and opinions? What would they like to see parents do in terms of getting involved with the school? Once we've had that initial plan and communication, I think we'll go into some brainstorming and planning. So I would like to create a scaffold for that advisory council. We could talk about meeting times, locations, who will be a part of the council, and what are the ultimate goals of that council. I'd like to identify potential strategies for parent involvement in the school. So what would we as administrators like to see the parents do? What would the parents like to do? What are their ideas? And then really what would the students like to see those parents do? And finally, I thought we could visit neighboring schools and districts just to learn more about what other parent groups might be doing, because they might be able to give us some great ideas. Finally, I think we can begin to implement and actually evaluate some of the plans and brainstorming that we've created. So we'll put these plans and ideas into action, and at the same time we'll evaluate how they're going. So we'll get feedback from the parents, the teachers, the students that are experiencing this involvement, and just see how it's going. and then we'll adjust accordingly. So if a plan goes well, we can continue doing it and talk about how to expand and involve more parents in that great successful strategy. And if it's not going well, then we'll ask for feedback about how to improve for the future. So 2 ways I think that I was, thinking about what's best for students is that they were consistently included in all phases of the process. So they were allowed to communicate their opinions about involving parents. They were involved in the brainstorming process and allowed to give their ideas. And then they were asked for their feedback in terms of implementing and evaluating the strategies. And then a second way that we kind of thought about what was best for kids is just that we really care about the relationship between the school and the community. I think that demonstrates that we do value them. And really, I think if parents are involved and we're communicating clearly with them, it can only improve students' academic performance. Things I was thinking, feeling, and valuing. I was thinking about whether or not I was missing something. Is there something that happened that is causing the principal to feel so negative about parent involvement? Or is it truly just a community that maybe doesn't want to be involved? Or is there something that happened that to make them think they're not allowed to be involved? Am I making the right choices? Really, am I thinking about kids and how to improve their education? And really, will this plan work? Will parent involvement actually improve? Things I was feeling, I was feeling a sense of urgency to improve this issue quickly. So let's not drag this out. If we are going to get parents to help, let's do it quickly. I also felt discouraged by the apparent lack of parent involvement. So why are they not willing to help? And I was frustrated just that the principal didn't seem anxious to improve the situation, and kind of frustrated that we weren't on the same page in this situation. Finally, things I valued. I value a thorough and timely response. So yes, I want to do this well, but I also want to do it quickly, as I already mentioned. I value an approach that includes input from all the parties. So not just me, not just the parents, but students, teachers, everybody's involved in making this better. And finally, I value a positive improvement in the relationship between the school and the community and the principal. So as I reflected, some things that are still unresolved, just did as many parents as possible receive the invite and the information? Are we really communicating with the most effective methods, and can we improve in this area? Will the advisory committee be effective? So we've done all this brainstorming and planning, but will it actually work, and will it help students as they learn? And then will parent involvement and the relationship between the school and the community improve? As I reflected on Standard 4, I think ways that I collaborated with family and community members included enlisting the help of the 8 parents who showed up. So we're using the resources we do have, even though they're small in number. And then one of my main goals was to improve the communication methods with all the parents. So we do value that relationship with the parents, and I'm not satisfied with only 8 of them showing up. So how can we get better in that area and broaden our connection with the community? Ways in which I responded to the diverse community needs. So throughout the process, I gathered input and feedback from a variety of community members. I've mentioned parents, students, and teachers were all involved, so I think we're getting feedback from a variety of parties and ultimately hopefully backgrounds and just different experiences. So we're looking at the diversity of our community. And then a big portion of the process was attempting to identify any underlying issues between the school and the community. So do they really want to get involved? And if not, why don't they want to get involved? So we're thinking about, again, just the big picture of the community. And then finally, just ways in which I mobilized the community resources. One of our strategies was to enlist the help of neighboring schools and districts. So this is one way to just mobilize the resources we have available out in the community. And then again, just by welcoming feedback and ideas from parents, they were able to provide input for how to most effectively get involved. So we're using the resources that we have. So that wraps up my podcast on this module, and I look forward to reading some of yours. Thank you.